no real advantage to us. It's irrelevant to me. Canada would love it. Canada wants it. They need it because we don't need Canada product. That's the thing. You know, I want to be a nice person, but we don't need. I want to build the cars here, not in Canada. We used to build cars in Canada. Now, the Canada cars, the Canadians are moving here to build cars. Same thing with Mexico. Same thing with Japan. Japan's paid us billions and billions of dollars for the privilege of making cars here and selling cars.
So there's Trump comparing the Canadian auto sector to the Japanese auto sector, two totally different beasts. Of course, yes, there have been Japanese automakers who've extended interest in investing in the United States, building new plants. Of course, they already have plants in the U.S. They have plants in Canada as well. But the Canadian auto sector, though, of course, is completely integrated across borders between Canada and the U.S. It's been that way since the middle of the 1960s under the Auto Pact Agreement, but it's very much under threat right now. And you hear comments like that from the president. Automotive makers are paying attention to that. We've already seen job losses in Canada in the auto sector, in places like Brampton, shift cancellations in places like Windsor. So it's not looking really good right now for the Canadian auto sector, but there is still a lot of hope that when this negotiation begins, the playing table could be set a little bit differently. And that's because the Supreme Court is expected to rule. We thought this might have been on Friday. There would have been a ruling from the court on the legality of the tariffs that Trump has imposed. There's a school of thought that says in order for a president to put tariffs on another country, he or she has to go to Congress and get approval for that. Of course, Trump did not do that with those original tariffs, the so-called fentanyl tariffs. The sectoral tariffs on steel and aluminum, a slightly different story because he used a different piece of legislation in order to rationalize those, saying that Canadian steel and aluminum is a threat to U.S. national security. Absurd point. However, that's the way that they're going with this. So based on these comments from Donald Trump, sounds like he is very blasé about USMCA, doesn't care, he says, whether it gets renegotiated. I'll leave it for people to argue about whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, that we're off his radar, at least for now. And then that renegotiation process, Faiza, we expect that to be really getting underway in coming months, leading to sometime in the spring or early summer, actual sit-down negotiations in a formal setting between both sides as the review process continues. Whether or not those tariffs will stay in place, really anybody's guess.